Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I was running a little late tonight. Had a last-minute emergency at home, but thank you for joining us for our last Green Party 101 of 2023. We started this 101 series in 2022 when we did a recurring cycle of Green Party 101, Eco-Socialism 101, and Organizing 101. We repeated them every 3 months and kind of worked on refining and fine-tuning our workshops. In 2023, we have diversified quite a bit with our 101 series. We've done ones on decentralization. We've done ones on independent politics, on workers' rights, on the Green New Deal, as well as sprinkling in our originals. And you can go to greensocialist.net/101s and find those, past workshops from the last 2 years since we've been doing this series. But as I said, tonight's going to be Green Party 101, talking about the history, the policies, the structure, and how to get involved in the Green Party. Like I said, this is the first one that we did back in 2022, and we're going to actually close out 2023 with our original 3. So this month we're going to do Green Party 101 tonight, obviously. Next month we're going to do Eco-Socialism 101, and in December we're going to do Organizing 101. These are usually on the 4th Tuesday, so next month our Eco-Socialism 101 will be on November 28th. In December, we're probably going to have to reschedule it because the 4th Tuesday is the day after Christmas, so we probably won't do it that one. But so tonight we're going to talk about Green Party 101. Like I said, my name is Chris Blankenhorn. I'm the Illinois Green Party Secretary, a former national co-chair of the Green Party of the United States, and I served as social media and tech director for the Hawkins Walker campaign in 2020. That's just a few of the many hats that I've worn in the Green Party over the years. Like I said, we'll get into the slideshow, a little, but I wanted to open up with kind of talking about the state of the Green Party right now. So if you're new to the Green Party, you may have heard about us when Cornel West said that he was running for president under the Green Party, but a couple weeks ago he switched to independent. That's his second switch since declaring he was running. He started with the Movement for a People's Party and then moved to the Green Party for a couple months, and now he's running as an independent. His campaign gave some reasons why. Some of them were good and legitimate, some of them weren't. A big one I remember seeing was that he didn't want to run for a nomination. He wants to be coronated. He doesn't want to go through a democratic process to gain the endorsement of a party, and as an independent, he doesn't have to do that. There was talk about problems within the party, and the Green Party certainly has its problems, like any large-scale national organization. But we bring to the table about 20 states, a couple dozen states that we are on the ballot for, that we have ballot access. That means you don't have to petition. That means in a state like California, the Green candidate will be on the ballot. I think the idea that it's easier to petition and get on the ballot as an independent is one that isn't really based in fact. In states like Illinois, where I'm from, whether you run independent or third party, you have to collect the same number of signatures, so there's no savings there. The problem with running independent, though, is it doesn't carry forward. If you have a really great election and you get recognized, it's only you. It's not a party. So there's no down ballot implications. I think that Ralph Nader in an interview with Politico, I think he summed it up best. The main thing that running independent lets you do, makes easier, is dropping out. And I know that was a concern of a lot of Greens, whether or not Cornel West was going to, actually challenge all the way through, and moving to independent makes it easier for him to not do that. But frankly, none of that matters, right? That's external. That's a campaign thing. They made a decision. They've moved on from the Green Party. So the question for Greens is, what should we be doing? I think we will, we'll still have our democratic process for, nominating our candidate for president. That's going to go ahead. The states will all have their primaries in their, in their own states. Some places like California, it'll be through the state-run ballot. in the primary election. Some states were like mine in Illinois, where we're not recognized, we'll run an internal process. But Greens are going to, go through that process of nominating a candidate. But if you've watched our workshops in the past, one thing that you'll probably won't be surprised by is that right now, I think that what Greens really need to be doing is focusing local, right? Whoever we have running for president, whatever that presidential ticket looks like, we can certainly leverage them, right? The presidential elections give us a spotlight that we don't have outside of that cycle. So we should definitely try to leverage that and but we have to make sure that we're ready to take on any people that, engage in the presidential campaign. We need to really focus on building our locals. One thing that I get asked all the time is, who is going to be the first Green congressperson? And I always, flip that question and say, it's not a who, it's a where. Races, you might be able to win a city council race based on name recognition, based on your reputation and your connections and networks in the community. You might be able to do that based on a person, right? In a smaller market, you might be able to actually win that race. But when it comes to a race like congressional, it's not a question of what candidate is going to win. It's a question of what local is organized enough to put together a serious congressional campaign that can compete, right? When we're talking about congressional campaigns, we're talking about larger scale campaigns that you really just can't rely on, one person and their name recognition. It takes a party, it takes an organization, it takes a serious campaign with staff and volunteers that are coordinated to actually do that. So that's where I think we need to be looking as the Green Party, as we, find ourselves presently in a little bit of, kind of uncertainty and turmoil. There was a big surge, when Cornel West announced that he was running Green Party. When he backed off it, and went independent, it really left us, kind of up in the air, and we're not sure what's going on right now. And I'd say, regardless of what's happening with the presidential election, regardless of what's happening with any specific candidate on that level, on the federal level, we really need to focus in on building our locals. We need to focus on mutual aid. We need to focus on education. We need to focus on showing up in the struggles of our community, whatever they may be, right? Because when we're fighting against something like climate change, what it looks like in central Illinois, where I live, is very different from what it looks like in Pittsburgh, which is very different than what it looks like in Chicago, which is very different than what it looks like in LA, and so on and so forth, right? So even though we have these large, and we'll talk about the green values, these large overarching values that guide our vision, what that actually looks like on the ground, how the climate struggle, or how struggles against police brutality, or how workers' rights work out is very location specific. So we really need to, if we want to grow the Green Party into a real alternative, if we want to grow the Green Party into some, a party that can elect people to Congress and then beyond, we really have to start organizing local, right? Because the Republicans and Democrats run their elections by throwing money at things, right? Just this presidential election season is going to see billions of dollars, dumped into kind of hands-off campaigning, right? Social media ads and flyers on your door. But if we want to challenge that, we cannot match their money. So we really, really, really need to focus on organizing. We need to really focus on building relationships. We need to really focus on developing organizers in our communities. So that's, a few minutes on, where we are in the, as a party, where we are at the moment following, Cornel West's announcement that he's going to be running independent. So yeah, with that, I guess we will get started with our Green Party 101. Like I said, you can go to greensocialist.net/101s and learn, see past episodes of this workshop, see the different, we'll talk about things like independent politics and decentralization today. When we do so, you will see, you can go and look and find, hour-long workshops just on those topics at that website. So